This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to this brand new edition of Out of England. I'm sure you have dinner table conversations with your Indian friends or with your neighbors, British friends, about how you as Indians want to see a lot more of India than your own home, than the Taj Mahal, than Rajasthan or Kerala or Goa or so many other famous iconic landmarks, historical locations and so on and so forth, which India really is very, very proud of. But to you today, as someone who's perhaps planning a holiday to India, and to all of you British lovely tourists who are likely to make a holiday to India, this is one conversation you must really not miss, because what we're talking to you about in the next few minutes is about India beyond the Golden Triangle, India beyond those very famous and fantastic locations like Kerala, like the important Tamil Nadu temples, and Goa and Delhi and so on and so forth. Not to take away or not to discount the fact that these are locations you must not miss in your lifetime, but there's more to it. For example, when we talk of Indian food, I've been saying this forever, that there is more to Indian food than chicken tikka masala, which is Britain's national dish. There's just so much more that every location, every place offers. And today, a holiday in India is not anymore about visiting or taking pictures at those beautiful locations, but it is an experience, and that's exactly why we're having this conversation. Let me first introduce to you the lady on the panel, Shobha Mohan, who is co-partner of RARE. And what is RARE all about? Because it does sound very rare to me.
Thank you, Radhika. So RARE is actually a consortium and a community of small boutique, privately run, owner-managed hotels. It's not managed by the owners, which is what RARE ideally likes to take on board. These are properties that are spearheaded and conceptualized by the owners who still hold the experience in place. Okay. So that's what RARE is about. Yeah.
Okay, so you're an umbrella body, if I may say, for really rare heritage properties across India.
Not really heritage, all kinds of conceptual hotels. They could be wildlife lodges, they could be retreats in the middle of, in the lap of nature. They could be a fantastic Ayurvedic spa, which has come up with a lovely new concept. Whatever property has a lovely new conceptual, has a lovely new story to say.
I can't wait to hear about these concepts and the trends that are really changing the dynamics of India tourism. Manu, what brings you here to London?
Hello Radhika, my name is Manu Gupta. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Niramya Retreats. We have a couple of retreats, 3 of them in Kerala, 1 in Bangalore, we have 1 in Kohima, Nagaland, and 1 in Jaipur. Our retreats are a convergence of luxury and wellness. We focus our offerings around wellness, besides offering a very luxurious stay. People could come to us for curative wellness, right from 5 nights up to 28 nights, and most of our hotels are at quite dramatic locations: Kovalam, Kumarakom, Thekadi, and Jaipur. So yes, we are expanding our footprint into the space of wellness.
Okay, lovely. I feel well already. I just want to put in a rider here. I am not plugging for any of these properties, and to be honest, I've not visited any of these properties. I've not seen them. And while you may be very excited about these properties that sound so good itself, there's just so much more that's happening at this event, which takes me to Sanjay, who's brought this event here in central London. This is an event which you call as a window from Britain to just the exotic side of India, isn't it?
Absolutely. Window to Luxury is a company which represents some of these small boutique luxury experiential properties from India. Much more like how Shobha said, some of these places are out of the box, completely relating to community and nature, and it's all what you give back to the community, what you really do, a lot of experiential things. The British love these experiences. It's not about staying in the big hotels. I'm not taking names here, but again, the small...
It's not just about checking
in into a room and coming out. It's all about experience. It's all about taking you to another level and regenerating yourself into another world. So India is the place for the moment for experiences, and who better than the owners or the people who run these small places, you know, just 3-room places, 4-room places right inside the jungles, you know, some fantastic properties. And it's a passion being an Indian, selling India, talking about India. It's all about passion.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly why we're doing this. We're promoting India, and anything to do with promoting India, then I mark my attendance. Sanjay Umashankar comes from a place which is very, very dear to me. This is Tanjavur, where my grandfather is from. And have you seen the Brihadiswara temple in Tanjavur, which really, according to me, can give the stiffest of competition to the Taj Mahal, to the Madurai glorious temple, because this is one temple which has not been painted with those acrylic paints, but this is one temple which intrigues people by its sheer architecture built by the great Rajaraja Chola. But Sanjay, you're coming from Tanjavur, Chennai. I'll start with you actually. What is that one USP that you offer to tourists, and what is that new thing you want to give tourists, apart from the fact that they see these glorious temples in Tamil Nadu?
There's not just one new thing. We're trying to offer people an experience which is both visual, culinary and cultural. For example, very few people know that Tanjore is the cradle for Tamil culture in terms of music, art form, Bharatanatyam, Carnatic music, and instrumental music, and several art forms like bronze casting, Tanjore paintings, glass paintings. And how many of you know there are only 4 families still left in Tanjavur that's actually making the veena by hand, and it's made out of a single bark of a jackfruit tree. Nobody knows this till you actually go and see this. And these are all living art forms where styles have not changed, material might have changed. For example, now they don't use ivory on the veena anymore. They use another substitute, but bronze making techniques which have not changed since the Bronze Age. It's all done right in front of you. These are the experiences that one faces. And coming back to the culinary aspect of we offer food that is home food and food from Tanjavur. This is food that you will not get in a typical Udupi or any other hotel that masquerades itself as a South Indian hotel, but home food from that region, completely vegetarian, completely organic, and grains that are being used for centuries. Like we've gone back to using millets for a lot of our food. We've started using non-hybrid rice varieties in our batters, and we are trying to make the entire experience very holistic by offering a Siddha form of a treatment which predates even Ayurveda and is from the Dravidian side of India.
Right.
And we also have a
so
healing.
It's completely Dravidian, the
completely
experience.
Dravidian, completely Tamil experience, and we also have introduced something very new. Probably the first one in Asia is healing through sound therapy, where you lie down on a hard bed which has got strings underneath it and cymbals all around you, and they're played in a sequence where the vibration actually helps you relax and go to sleep. And you get to sleep in 8 minutes despite the sound.
It's not noise, it's sound. And sound can put you to sleep and make you relax. That sounds fantastic. The first in Asia. This is available at Swatma in Tanjavur. And by saying you use organic, traditional food, you have made me suitably hungry. It's almost lunch hour. But yes, now this is, I've heard quite a range of new concepts. Tell me these new concepts that you have heard. You don't associate yourself to a particular property, Shobha, but you have seen across India these different concepts. Name about 4 or 5 your favorite ones which are so out of the box and unique only to India.
If you talk about, if you talk about the new concepts that are being there, suddenly, and we've been propagating this for, I think, the last 5 years, we're talking about luxury with meaning. it is no longer a time when people want to get into opulent luxury spaces where people just outside them are devoid of the simplest pleasures of drinking water, right? So we are now looking at less responsible luxury. We are looking at saying no to plastic. We are now looking at people who want to involve themselves. They want to get their hands and feet dirty. They want to walk into the villages and see how an entire section of society lives, not because they're going to give them money or something like that, because they walk away with a little transformative experience. Exactly. Now that is what is going to be the next trend. Rare started in 2004 when people told me, why are you doing this? Just pick up a group hotel and you will make a lot of money. I said, no, this is where the travel industry will go to. This is where the hospitality industry is headed. And I believe that transformative travel with meaning, and travel that impacts every bit of the travel space positively is what will trend in a couple of years' time. We are not very far away from there. I already see tour operators talking about removing plastic from their day-to-day itineraries, encouraging their tourists and their travelers to travel without the quintessential bottled water, which passes on, as luxury for some people. It isn't. We have some of our hotels, in fact, most of our hotels serve very, very good and clean, purified RO water. Simplest thing, right? To engage with the community, to bring local food.
How are international tourists receptive of that concept? Because clean drinking water in India is one stress point for a lot of international tourists.
Correct. So, receptive, not really, but therein lies the job or the work of the hotelier and the tour operator, right? I mean, you can't drink it, you clearly can't drink water off the taps like you would do in UK, yes, right? But if it's a legitimate RO system that is installed there, you have good, sterilized bottles waiting for you there, and the hotelier briefs you about the kind of water that is there and also tells him. In fact, I have a hotelier who has a little placard that says 99.9% pure. Right? So you have to encourage them. You have to give them options. Of course, you just don't want them to go from bottled water to Delhi Belly in a few hours, right? But you have to create opportunities for them to make that change, especially because most of the rural areas and off the highways, the kind of hotels that we are promoting, do not have legitimate, they don't have legitimate and they don't have organized systems for recycling or to carry away your garbage. So you enter cities looking at huge piles of garbage, and this is what we are trying to do with most of our Rare hotels. Sustainability, community engagement, and thinking about the kind of footsteps you will be leaving behind is one of the core things that we'll be going forward with.
At Niramaya, we build small hotels and provide a sense of space. So our thumb rule when we construct or build a hotel is that we must have a minimum of 3/4 of an acre of land. So the sense of space, the sense of uncluttered, soul uplifting experience, that itself is curative the moment a person checks in. So when we are building a retreat, we ask ourselves a question. Within 5 minutes of arrival, is a guest feeling comfortable, relaxed, and curated? If the answer to that is yes, we build a retreat, else we don't. But not talking about Niramaya now, but generally from where you started off, that India is far beyond Rajasthan. Just to let you know, statistically, the quality of roads that has improved throughout the country. Of course, Rajasthan roads are fantastic, but whether it is Kerala, Karnataka, and all the other states, government has spent hundreds of billions of dollars only to improve infrastructure. 80 international airports are going to be operational in the next 5 years, which means that connectivity, accessibility into most of our unique retreats. There are 30 hoteliers. Some of them are Rele Chateau hotels, some of them are most of them are rare hotels, windows to luxury. The fact that the 30 or the 40 of us are here checks all the right boxes. But we are here to promote that no, India as a nation, as a country, is now come of age and is providing the infrastructure that a British tourist expects. So,
good roads, good food, of course, clean drinking water, like she said. Well, we've got the basics right there.
International airports, new international airports.
Accessibility, connectivity. internet penetration into tier 2, tier 3 cities, and there's more to India than the buffaloes just ahead of your car and the bumper-to-bumper traffic. But that's exactly why I want to talk to you, Sanjay, about the British or the international perception of India. Sadly, it still is about animals on the road. It still is about somebody who's a pauper asking you for cash, about transport which can be sort of not a very fair system, where you see white skin or you see foreign skin and you're demanded more money, and you've got to speak that local dialect to be able to get your way out of. So what do people ask you when the tour operators, what are those important challenges they feel should be tackled?
All what you said just now is all part of our experience. So that is the experience, you know. You cannot see, then what is the difference between UK and India? So there's a varied amount of categories of people. You have this wildlife who's completely into wildlife. Now, with respect to wildlife, a trend we see is all those people who have gone to the African countries for their holiday, they tend to ask, oh, why not India next? So that is one category of people who we sort of try to target. Now, with respect to heritage and what is that we don't have in our country, isn't it? See, I don't know of any person who would not like. So it's all about ambassadors like us and the tour operators. So our job to the tour operators is to educate them, and that's what we do. So there could be a lot of reservation staff, a lot of these tour operators wanting to know new itineraries, new routes, something new in their hotels, some of the hotels we represent.
Holidaying today is about experiences, and imagine you don't just check into a hotel, see one important location of that city, get a picture or a selfie, and then move to the next. It's not anymore about that. It is about meeting those 4 families which today hand make veenas, yet it is about learning concepts of, let's say, a Bharatnatyam in Tamil Nadu, or Kathak elsewhere, or meeting with people in Rajasthan who really cook that dal bati churma by hand. Tell me about these really interesting concepts. I'm going to go back to this question because that really, I think, makes me and will make many others want to go to India. Some interesting concept of an idea that just made a property.
So, okay, so to be honest, we are all a part of the rare community. So Swatma is also a part of that. So Swatma, when it came on board, till then, South Indian cuisine was South Indian khana. So
Masala dosa.
Masala dosa, sambar. I mean, like you could be Andhra Pradesh, but Swatma actually brought in the Brahmanical cuisine. And there is a difference between Kerala food and the Chettinad food and the Tamil Brahmanical cuisine. It brought that to fore. The second thing it did was, it brought food in small portions. You know, otherwise Indian food is all about these buffets and loads of food.
Heap of rice.
It's a heap of rice. So what Swatma did was, it kind of did bite-sized, food in bite-sized portions, which again is very, very interesting from a cuisine perspective. Initially, when they started, people said, oh, very less food and things like that. But over a period of time, this is caught up. So one of the stories, which is an enduring story, is there's a lovely little hamlet called Shahpura actually. This is between Jaipur and Udaipur. It kind of cuts your driving time exactly into 4 hours. This is before the flights came on board. So if you look at Shahpura today from a Google map, on a Google map, it will show you turquoise colored squares all over the property, about 250 of them. And the first time I went to Shahpura, I kind of at Gulabpura, I got off the highway, and suddenly it was green. I was driving in May, and it was green, and the AC was, it kind of chilled you because it wasn't even effective right before I entered there. And they continue this tradition of harvesting rainwater, and it's not one or two reservoirs. 250 reservoirs in and around this place, each of them having a name which the erstwhile His Highness Nahar Singh Ji actually sold his family heirlooms to fund this whole project at a time of famine. Going slightly beyond this, there used to be a large placard which used to be a part of their brochure, where there used to be a small handprint, tiny handprint, and they told me that this was Shah Jahan's handprint. It was a part of a farman. It was a part of a decree that was given to the owners of the royal family of Shahpura as an award, as a reward for having fought with Shah Jahan in one of his battles.
Oh,
so these are the kind of stories that we talk about.
Oh wow, thank you so much. You should be a tour guide. I know it'll be very little money, but you need passion again. Okay, now I'll have to end this because this is getting a little long. We can keep talking for ages about the beauty about India and these little stories across the different regions. But I'm going to close this with maybe one or two. If you were to describe your personal take on India tourism, what would that one or two words, sentences be? Just brief 2 lines about what India means to you.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's, again, as I told you, it's something. It's a passion. It's all about experiences. There is nothing which you do not get in India which you can get in any other part of the world. So it's all about that.
Okay, lovely.
I think I'll stick to the tagline that Tourism Ministry has got. It's incredible India. I mean, you have history, you have, and which you can date back to several thousands of years, standing right in front of you and in pristine condition. You have food, the people, and it's a complete olfactory delight. And that's what it is.
It's a complete canvas, isn't it, of so many different colors and cultures, yes.
So I might get a little philosophical and start crying also, but I just love India. We are also coming out of years of being told that you are not civilized, you're not. We have a civilization that is much, much more civilized than any of the countries that, that's so-called civilized countries. We have traditions in us, built within our daily living, that has answers to most of the problems that the earth or the planet faces today. The whole concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is a family, probably has the logic, and it has the spirit of trying to bring harmony to the entire world. Now this is what India is all about. It can be a learning experience, or you can just ditch it, but you can never ignore what India is.
Character, charm, delight, and actually a world-class hospitality.
Thank you very much, all of you, indeed. Well, I don't know how I would put it. If somebody asked me that question, I'd say India is home, and you feel at home, and that's all that there is to India. Thank you very much for joining us on this conversation. To each of you, thank you for doing what you're doing, because they are, as Sanjay said, ambassadors of India tourism, of the real India, and transforming what tourism would mean like perhaps in the next few years to come in a very responsible way.